right, let's talk Manchester United. This raised a few eyebrows. Their captain, Bruno Fernandes, being linked with Galatasaray. James, he's not going to Galatasaray, is he?
Manchester United fans will certainly hope he won't be, and we understand he is not for sale at any price. Now, there's been reports that Galatasaray are ready to bid for Bruno Fernandes, and they'd be willing to double his wages. He's entered the final year of his contract, but, crucially, United have an option to extend that by a further year. You remember last year there was a lot of speculation around him going to the Saudi Pro League, and Bruno Fernandes spoke quite openly after that, saying he was quite hurt that the club didn't really say, Bruno, don't go anywhere, we want you to stay. It felt like the club were willing to listen to offers, which felt so strange considering he is by far the most important person, not only player, most important person at that football club right now. And I think Fernandes felt that the club were open to selling him. He didn't want to go. He did speak to the club, Al Hilal, about moving there last season. They were willing to pay £100 million to sign him. United were quite public in saying Bruno wants to stay in the end. But what was interesting, a lot of people weren't aware of this, there was a £57 million release clause for foreign clubs in Bruno Fernandes' contract. That has now expired. So clubs can't put that money in and get Bruno Fernandes. I think he wants to stay at United. I think it's an exciting project there. He was the best player by far in the Premier League last season. So I think he still feels he's got plenty to give at the highest level. 31 years of age now, no signs of slowing down. I don't think he'll be going to Galatasaray, despite the fact he'd earn a serious amount of money if he wants to go to Turkey.
But he wants to stay, but he needs reinforcement, surely. I mean, Ruben Amorim's Milan gave them a good kicking over the weekend. So where do United need to strengthen?
Well, I mean, I think it's been pretty clear that they need another left-back. Lewis Hall is obviously very highly regarded at Newcastle, but Newcastle are going to sell another first-team player. I don't. We'll have to wait and see. But I think they do need another left-back. I would personally think they'd need another midfielder, someone who with a bit of pace in that midfield.
Or some legs. They need some legs, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really like, the Yuri Tielemans signing for that price. Andre Santos is someone who never really got, a consistent run at Chelsea. But from what I'm told, the United fans I've spoken to, they're very encouraged by what they've seen so far. But I think the concern is Benjamin Šeško hasn't played much in pre-season. Mason Mount has had a good pre-season, but then he might have a little injury concern. Then I go back to it again when Europe starts again, and then you need more players. He had Michael Carrick fully earned that opportunity to have a full season with Man United next year, this season obviously. But it's going to be tough.
I feel like I've asked this every day, but I'm going to ask it again. Marcus Rashford, does he stay or does he go?
Well, I think Marcus Rashford is one of the most paid, or if not the highest paid player in the United squad right now. Bruno Fernandes might come close, but he's on astronomical wages at Manchester United. He had a really good loan spell at Barcelona last year. They opted against paying that option to buy price for him around £25 million. He has played for United now. He was back on the pre-season tour. He was involved in that final game. He had that break after the World Cup, which meant he's had a very different pre-season than he probably hoped for. But he is an option for Manchester United right now, because if clubs are unwilling to pay what United think he's worth, bearing in mind he's got 2 years left in his contract, we know United would want at least £25 million, you'd say. But at the same time, they may take a smaller transfer fee if it meant they didn't have to pay those wages for the next 2 seasons. They've got Patrick Dorgu there, they've got Mateus Cunha there on the left-hand side. But I think if he remains a United player after the transfer deadline day on September the 1st, I do suspect he'll get minutes. As Michael said, they've got European football, and this is a player who did excel at Barcelona, who won La Liga last season. He was part of the England World Cup squad. There's a serious player there. Whether he can get back to the level he showed for Manchester United 2 or 3 years ago is another question. United fans will hope so, and it's going to be intriguing to see what sort of reception he gets from United fans, I think.
I think it does him the world of good staying, personally. He's not played under Michael Carrick in any competitive matches. Any differences he might have had are with previous managers. Go and show United fans you want to be there.
Do you think he'll stay?
Yes.
Do you think he'll stay?
Yeah.
OK. All right, we'll take a break then.
Do you think he'll stay?
Do you think?
I have no idea.
A successful end to the season. Michael Carrick was named Manchester United's permanent head coach. Clinton, look, the vibe, the atmosphere around Old Trafford, it's been positive in pre-season. And then there was that worrying performance against AC Milan, Ruben Amorim's AC Milan.
What was going to happen?
Do you think there's any concerns going into the new season?
The only concerns I see is Michael Carrick came out and said we need to strengthen in a midfielder and then the left-back area. So I'm surprised they're not doing their business at the moment. I was speaking to Dams there before. Santos is a good signing. Tielemans is a really good signing. But you need to back him because he's done ever so well last season. They're going to be in the Champions League this season, and you do need to back your manager. Me personally, I think keep Marcus Rashford. I know there's a lot of noise of maybe him going, but I think if you can get the best out of Marcus Rashford, it's like having a new signing. And I think Michael Carrick can do that. Other managers have tried, but I think Michael Carrick can do that.
Why do you think he can?
Because I think he knows him, he played with him, and I think there's a good togetherness there. And I just think other managers, they come in and you hear probably what the hierarchy's saying about Marcus Rashford. Does he want to be here? Has his head been turned? I think he's suited to the way Man United are. He's just got to find a position for him because that left-hand side, they've got Cunha there, and Cunha's been outstanding for them. But can he play through the middle? You know, maybe they got Šeško there, but he's not quite. I think he's not quite ready at the moment with a few injuries. So they do need to strengthen, though. I was saying that to Dom. Should have gone and got Welbeck. I know I'm going off far here, but go to why wouldn't Man United go and get someone like that? So I just think they're doing their business a bit too slow. But the two they have brought in have been really good.
You mentioned Rashford there. We'll come back to where they need to strengthen in a moment. But just on the Rashford dilemma, on the one hand, it's, yeah, he can be reintegrated into the team. He can be an asset to Manchester United. But clearly, Manchester United wanted to sell Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
And there are financial implications associated with Rashford, particularly his wages. Publicly, they will say the right things. Oh, he's got a shirt number. Oh, he's just like one of the other players, new players coming in. And Michael Carrick said, oh, you know, it actually helps that he's been here before. But given there's only 2 weeks to go now, it's a case of not only trying to sell him, but you'd have to try and get someone else in as well in that time.
Yeah, in that short space of time. And you're right, he is on big money. He's probably the highest paid player there at Man United. And they were trying to get rid of him because you could see Barcelona, you thought he was going to go there, and then they ended up signing Gordon. And then there's been other clubs interested in Marcus Rashford. So it's a tricky situation, that is, even for Michael Carrick, the manager, the hierarchy. If they're going to get the right bid for Marcus Rashford, they're going to more than likely move him on. Me personally, I tried to keep Marcus Rashford. I still think he has a lot to offer.
Look, if we go back 4 seasons, the opening fixture of the season was against Brighton. United's back 4, Dalot, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw, 4 seasons ago. That could be the back 4 that starts against Hull City on Saturday.
I know, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Should alarm bells be ringing at that? Or...
Yeah, maybe so. I think, you know what United did? They done things last season, is they went and said, we're going to strengthen up front. So and then now they said, we're going to strengthen in midfield. So in the next big window, do they strengthen defensively? I still think if the right player becomes available defensively, you need to bring it in. You need to strengthen that up. I know they gave Maguire a new contract, which he thoroughly deserved, because I thought Harry Maguire was outstanding. Thing is Martinez needs to stay fit. I think he's a good player, Lisandro Martinez, but too many times last season, too many injuries. They got young Lenny Yoro, De Ligt. I think De Ligt was good, but then he's coming back from injury. So in the centre-half area, I do think they are stacked, but I think in the full-back areas, need to strengthen, definitely at right-back, and in particular at left-back, because Luke Shaw had a good season, but he's not getting any younger. So you do need to back the manager, and it's going to be difficult, because last season it was easier because they weren't solely they could just concentrate on the league. Now it's different. You're in 4 cup competitions and you're going to have to deliver.
You mentioned that. They couldn't have played fewer games. It was impossible because they were out in the first round of both the cup competitions and 38 league games. And that, you know, contributed to them finishing 3rd. Nobody expected that, particularly after Ruben Amorim was in charge. But we've seen the squad. You've mentioned the 2 big-name signings that they brought in. And this was a couple of weeks ago now. Manchester United fans were probably getting pretty excited. Right, Tielemans is in, Santos is in. What's going to happen next? And it's kind of nothing has happened since. How short are they?
No, they are short. And Michael Carrick came out and said, we need to strengthen. I know every manager comes out and said they need to strengthen because you want to add. But Man United are short because, as you just said it, all they are is like probably one injury away from being really short. Because if you looked at it last season, I said they had a good squad of like 12, 13. But now when you're, as you said, in 4 competitions, You need a bigger squad than that. They've got a lot of good youngsters, don't get me right, the youngsters, but you don't want to throw the youngsters into the deep end. You want to, and when you want to add to the squad, Dams, you want to add quality to the squad. So when you're substituting a player, the one who's coming on is making a difference. He's not, downgrading the team. And I'm not saying that's what happens at Man United. And that's where you want a big squad. So they're short in about 3 or 4 positions, I think. They need to help him and they need to strengthen. I do think it will go right down to the wire, where you see a lot of teams doing business, in particular Man United. You need to be competitive. As we've seen it many times. Last season, people were saying Man United are going to be back. This season, they're going to be even better. And as Dom just rightly alluded to, they signed Tielemans, they signed Santos. You got excited and think, who's the next 2 coming through? And then it's gone quiet. So, yeah, but hopefully they do business.
Look, there was so much optimism at the end of last season, wasn't there? And like you say, there is still 2 weeks left.
Yeah, of course.
But does it feel a sense that maybe Michael Carrick's been let down a bit in this window?
Yeah, I think he has been let down. I do. And it's a hard one for me to say that, but I do think they've been let down because he's probably been promised stuff in the summer to say we're going to get that. And it is hard to try and get your first choice over, but then you always have a backup plan of a second choice or a third choice. So if you can't get that first choice, then you try and go the second and the third. He would have sat down with the hierarchy and said to them, these are the players that I want in. If you can't get them, then get my second choice. We're talking about, it's Man United Football Club, Loads of players would want to go to Man United. It's still the biggest team in the world, in my opinion, Man United. So why can they not get the players across the line?
But it's clear that, and Michael Carrick actually alluded to this in a recent interview, that they can't bring in the £100 million player.
No,
We've seen, Manchester City do that.
Yeah.
Chelsea do that. Tottenham Hotspur are doing that.
Yeah, they are.
So effectively, United aren't competing in that market at the moment. Is it because they're almost paying for years of mismanagement before Ineos came in?
100%. Mismanagement and mis-signings as well, where they spent a lot of money on players that were not good enough for Man United, and they're paying for it now. So you're saying, looking at Man City, Chelsea are spending 100 million. Man United are spending players for Tielemans, they got him on a cheap. I thought it was a great signing. Santos, looking at 50, 60 million. So, yeah, it's shopping in a different market, and that's where they are at the moment. And that's why I say the job Michael Carrick done last season was unbelievable. But this season, the eyes are going to be on him even more, and this is where the hierarchy have to back him. But a good point you make, you can't go and spend 100 million because they've mismanaged it years gone by, and that's where the club are at the moment.
Okay. Surprise team to miss the Champions League. James, who have you got?
I think it's pretty obviously Liverpool. There's some really talented players there, but I still don't see how it all sort of coalesces into an 11. I don't think they've kind of answered the question of how you fit Wirtz and Szoboszlai into midfield, especially if you're going to go and sign Bradley Barcola. I look at the defence and I think long-term Leone and Xhaka could be really good, but I'm not sure I'd want 21-year-olds playing such a big role, and they might have to with Gomez injured and Araujo. Is Ronald Araujo, Jeremy Frimpong at right back? Can you play that in the Premier League? And they've really replaced Mo Salah. So there's a load of super talented players there, but I don't think there's a team. And I think Andoni Iraola will need a lot of time to get them playing the way he wants to, which is a very good way to play football. But I don't see this clicking.
Yeah, I'm with you, JB. The big issue that I have with Liverpool is a lack of depth at the fullback positions. You mentioned Jeremy Frimpong. We don't know how Conor Bradley is going to come back or when he's going to come back from his serious injury from last campaign. The big player that I think is going to be a liability yet again is Milos Kerkez. I think going forward, he's going to show his quality, but defensively, 1v1, Verge is going to have his hands full.
Mm-hmm. We're not on this, are we?
We're not on the
same page. Do you know what I was thinking? As James, we've both gone for Manchester United because I think we're on the same page in terms of right now, we don't think they've got enough. There's not enough strength in depth. James just reeled off about $1 billion worth of talent. And I'm thinking, well, surely you can meld that lot together.
So, Andoni Iraola, they sold everyone that he had that was good at Bournemouth.
Yep.
And he just kept chugging along with players that he had to quickly get together and be on the same page. And now he's got, as you said, all these players that maybe in year two, maybe in the sophomore year of them in the Premier League, the Florian Wirtzes, Isak maybe can do a bit more, obviously. Andoni Iraola is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He'll do well.
Almost as brilliant as Michael Carrick.
Well, yeah, but I just think Manchester United, as we speak right now, and I'm not reading too much into the weekend's friendly.
They really wanted to beat Amorim, though. And that came from inside the club, and Amorim made Manchester United fans miss him, which I never thought would be possible.
So you two have put Man U. Why'd you put Man U, then?
I put Man U because I'm obviously half joking, but that friendly we saw, my goodness, I think it's clear that United still have a few holes that they need to fill. They don't have that reliable 20-plus goal season striker, even though they spent a lot of money. So many of their transfers have been huge flops. They had some sales over the summer. Carrick, it was a bit of a, sweet 15 or so games that he had after Emery left, but now he's got European football.
That's the big one.
Do they have the depth to be prolific and successful on all fronts? I'm not sure. They will miss Ruben Amorim.
I think they've got to do some serious business. I think they need at least 3 or 4